So colour isn't just something we see, it's something we feel. My whole house was beige because it just felt safe and I just wanted to feel safe. It was never that it looked too much. It always felt too much. Now, black, as its essence, is an absence of light. So it has no vibration. It has no frequency. So it's like the most powerful invisibility cloak. We default back to something that doesn't feel overwhelming. So it's really interesting. So I plan my day in colour. We all save these bright colours for when we go on holiday.
Guys, welcome back to Unfuck Your Flow and Take Action. I am your podcast host, Alice Dartnell, time and energy management expert. And today we have got something a little bit different because have you ever wondered what the correlation between your energy and colour is? Yeah, me neither really. And that is until, have you ever wondered what the correlation is between colour and your energy? I've got to confess, yeah, me neither. It's not really something I'd thought about before. That was until I met the amazing Kate Harrison. And through her work, I started to see the importance of colour. Now, if you've met me in real life, you will probably know I do like a bit of colour. I'm often in pink, that is my brand, it's my favourite colour, but I'd never really given much thought into the meaning behind colour and how it actually affects our energy. Now, as a time management coach, I always advocate that actually time management isn't about managing your time, it's about managing you and your energy. I heard about Kate's work and the colour, I thought, hang on a minute, I think there's something there. I think there's a correlation there between the colour, the colours that we wear, and our energy management. And what's that got to do with unfucking your flow and taking action? Everything. So I'm really, really excited for this podcast episode because Kate is going to show us what black really is, why it's a default for us, and why energy, as an energy tool, we can use colour. This is going to be such a different episode. I am so excited that you're here. So let's rock and roll and get straight into it. And let's welcome in the amazing Kate Harrison.
So, unfuck your flow and take action. I am very, very excited for this episode because I have the amazing, gorgeous Kate Harrison with me today. Kate is the founder of Chromie. Am I saying that right, Kate?
Yeah, bang on.
Yep. And a TEDx speaker and a leading voice in colour therapy. She is on a mission to make colour one of the most accessible, effective wellbeing tools we use every day. She's there helping people boost their confidence, boost their energy and emotional balance by living a life in full spectrum, not black and white. So I'm very, very excited for Kate to be here. Kate, I actually met you at Womenly Fest, I think it was, last year when I accidentally got roped into standing in as a catwalk model. And because you're here today, I have gone full-blown colour. So if anyone can actually see the podcast, I have gone for yellow maxi furry skirt with a cherry t-shirt and a cherry cardigan. So I've done this in your honour, Kate.
Obsessed. Absolutely obsessed. Yes, you were a supermodel on that day. So you the supermodel and I was hosting. Loved that.
Yeah. It's okay. So thank you so much for being here, lovely. I know you've got so many exciting things going on in your world at the moment, which I'm sure we'll dive into. But if not, go stalk Kate on Instagram. But the reason why I wanted to get you on is because every time I look at your Instagram and I see the amazing content that you share around colour therapy and all this kind of stuff, and I was like, there's definitely something here. There's definitely like a link, a synergy, an alignment between what I am here to do and help people with, which I call Unfuck Your Flow and Take Action. I'm all about the energy management and colour. Like I feel like there's a link there.
Yeah. Colour is energy.
That's
the link, babes. It's as simple as that.
Let's dive into it. What is that link? What? Because I can't articulate it, but I just know there's something there. So as the colour expert, tell me, what is it?
Yes, the colour expert. Well, that's why you feel it, because we feel colour, right? So colour isn't just something we see, it's something we feel. So colour is wavelengths of light, okay? So every different colour has a different frequency. So you're dealing with something that's got a wavelength and a frequency. Therefore, it's an energy, okay? And I think this is the thing that people get wrong, is that we think about colour as something that we can see, whereas actually it's something we can feel as well. And once you get your head around that color contains energy, and each of these different colors on the visible spectrum of light contain different energies, then it gets really interesting, because then we get to color in our world intentionally. It's super exciting. And I kind of happened upon this as a stylist. I was a stylist for 25 years, and I had a couple of TV series, and I would, for the big reveal, always use like a real bold color, like a red. And I'd put this woman in this red dress, and she'd look awesome, and she'd say she looked awesome, and then she'd go straight back to her black tracksuit. And it was never that it looked too much. It always felt too much. And that's where I was like, these people are feeling, can they feel color? And it kind of took me on a bit of a journey through the whole of my life, that there've been times when I've lost my color and I hadn't realized until it all tied back to this color is energy you can see. And that's where it all started.
I love that. So first of all, though, before we go down that color, I love that we can feel color, not just see it. I want to touch on that more, but that I really could see that when you described the big reveal, like the woman in the gorgeous red dress. She's like, oh, I feel fabulous. Next day, she's back in the trackies and like, you know, back in black. I think that's really common. I think for a lot of women, black is the default, and actually maybe it isn't a style choice or black is slimming. It is the feeling that I don't maybe feel ready to be seen, or like, is there something?
Yeah.
Is that what you've noticed?
Yeah, the thing is that color affects us subconsciously, so it's not a conscious thing. Through different times in our lives, we can become overwhelmed by loads of different things. So it might be, you know, through you've got so much on at work, or you've got kids, or, you know, there's all sorts going on. And all these little traumas, so they might be little ones or big ones, you know, sometimes it could be that someone's just said something to you, or sometimes it might just be you're really tired. It means that our lives are very overwhelming, which then means that what we do is we default back to something that doesn't feel overwhelming. Now, black, as its essence, is an absence of light. So it has no vibration, it has no frequency. So it's like the most powerful invisibility cloak. It's really like a cocoon, and then we can feel really safe in it, and we can feel like, oh, it's holding us. And it is, because it hasn't got an energy, you know, whereas if we stepped into red, we'd feel that confidence, we'd feel that power. And if we're not feeling those things anyway, that's going to jar with us. And that's why that lady didn't feel good in the red, because it was vibrating at a frequency that was alien to her. It was almost like the opposite. So she'd go back into the black because that's the comfort blanket. And I think it's what we all do, isn't it? It's the default setting, because we can lose our color. I did throughout my whole life when I started looking back. So I'm writing a book at the moment, and a lot of it is based around me as a woman. Even from teenage years, I had a very colorful, my dad was an art teacher, so like it was surrounded by color. And I've just done a TEDx talk, and I actually had my dad's his tie rail on the stage where it was all about. That's when I first realized that I could feel color. I used to like just look at all his ties and sort them out and put them up to my face, and I just thought they were amazing. And then moving into teenage years, I lost my confidence, started caring what people thought, started caring what the outside world was saying. There was a lot of overwhelm. And I'll look back at the pictures. I always do Throwback Thursdays in my little membership group. And I'm always in black in my teenage years. And now I've got teenagers myself. I see that kind of happening again. It's the cocooning. You're trying to work out who you are.
And then I definitely remember being a teenager, just being like, I just want to be fucking normal. I just want to fit in with everyone else, especially because I was like mixed race and stuff. And it was like black.
Yeah. We blend in, and then we kind of get out of that, and then we're kind of working out who we are. And it might be in our careers, or it might be, then I had 3 kids, and after the first one I got really bad postnatal depression, so again defaulted to black, and then I realized that actually not even just in my clothes, like in my food, my whole plate was beige. There was nothing. There was no rainbow going on in there. My whole house was beige, because it just felt safe, and I just wanted to feel safe. And actually, it was the stuff I needed to address underneath. And it wasn't until I addressed the stuff underneath and used colour as this energy tool that actually I was able to then start colouring myself and my life back in again.
As an energy tool. But yeah, it's really interesting what you say about black as well. Like, it has no energy and is the absence of light, and it does just help us, I suppose, blend in. Like, if I look back at my corporate days, I've always loved pink. Pink's my favorite color. And when people say, "Oh, why did you choose pink for your branding, for your business?" Because I like the color and it makes me happy. Like, it's my favorite color. Like, if I'm going to be surrounded by it, I'm going to be surrounded by the happiness. But when I was in corporate, I dared once wear pink, or I had like a pink sparkly pen or something like that. And the environment was that typical white male, pale style, grey, black suits, maybe a little bit of navy every now and again. But there I was, and I rocked up into the boardroom with this glittery pen and, I don't know, a bit of pink on me. And I got slated. I got absolutely slated for being girly, not enough gravitas, and I was managing up I think I was like late 20s and managing people twice my age. There really was this kind of like, oh shit, I've got to wear black and I've got to fit in. I completely stripped my colour out of my life when I was in corporate. And then now, I mean, as I've just said, I'm in my yellow skirt and my pink, and I'm feeling fucking happy about it.
I love that.
I wouldn't dream of wearing this in the corporate world because I got slated. And so I'm so glad
I
I've
feel
got
a
a
lot
business.
with corporates because not every woman can work for herself. Not everyone's a female founder. I do a lot of work in corporates. Got International Women's Day coming up. I'm doing stuff for Women in Property Network. I'm doing a huge thing for Thames Valley Police. People who have to wear black every single day. This is a uniform for them. Within corporates, I always say this within these corporate environments. I worked in construction for a long time. It was very, very pale, stale and male. Very. And a lot of the time when you walk in with pink, and I tried this with one of my clients who is in corporate, she bought herself some bright pink trousers, like real bright cerise pink. And I said, walk in, know that you will be treated differently. Know that the men will treat you differently. And it's not because you are less than, it's because the frequency of that vibration, it vibrates at a very feminine energy, and they won't know what to do with it. And actually what we're going to do is we're going to step you into your superpower. So actually reconnecting back with your feminine energy, leading in a feminine energy. And what I generally find with women who then step into this, especially within the color spectrum, people are scared of them. Like, these men see them as a huge threat because they're vibing on a totally different level, and it's not one necessarily that they can even understand. A lot of men cannot even understand it, so they put it down. They shoot it down because that's the easiest thing to do. But what we want to do is empower women to bring themselves to work. And when I do corporate workshops, I call them Bring Yourself to Work Day, because so many people say, oh, well, I couldn't do that in work. And I'm like, try it. Let's see what happens. Because
I had like a completely total separate wardrobe for like work, Alice. Whereas now, what I wear is what I wear, depending on, it doesn't matter because I work for myself. But yeah, I had a completely separate wardrobe.
It's a long time to spend being someone else. And also from a corporate perspective, like from just a productivity perspective, if you've got people turning up in your office who aren't being themselves, they're drained and they are shattered, and you're not going to get the best from those people. So what we want to do is encourage people to step into that in lots of different ways. And colour is just one of those ways that you can do that, not necessarily just on what you're wearing, but also what you're eating, your thoughts, using different colours for different productivity strategies. So do we need this area to be energizing? Do we need this meeting to be calming? What about your ideal client? What sort of colours are they attracted to and why? It really goes across the board.
Can we just dig a little bit deeper into that? Because obviously, time management freak, and I don't ever call myself a productivity coach just because I feel like productivity has, for me, had a bad rap because it was my urge to be productive that probably led me to a burnout. But for me now, it's more about like alignment, focusing your time on the needle movers, the things that count and matter for you. But I obviously, people do come to me because they're procrastinating and they want to get more out their time and their energy. So what is that link there between sort of the colour, the energy and the productivity?
So it's really interesting. So I plan my day in colour, which people are like, what? And I've got a little daily planner that's on my website that I use every single day because I can procrastinate with the best of them. Oh my Lord, I used to do that all the time. But essentially with colour, and when we're talking about colour energy, the lower vibrational frequency of the colour, the more energizing it is. Okay, so with colour, we're talking about the visible spectrum of light, which goes from red to violet to white. Anything lower than red is infrared, and that we can't see it, but we feel it, and we use it a lot in wellbeing when it comes to like infrared saunas and things like that. And anything above violet is ultraviolet, which again, we're using constantly in face masks and stuff, but we just can't see it. So my energy medicine, if you like, is the bit we can see, which is super exciting because it's stuff we're surrounded with every single day. You know, we drink it in constantly. So what we look at is that visible spectrum, the lower down. So you've got your reds and your oranges and your yellows. They're all very energy building colors. So if you say to someone, oh, it's a low vibe, people don't want to be low vibe, but actually low vibrational frequencies are very energy building. They're warming, and you can feel that when you think of orange and yellow and red. They feel warm. They're the colors that you think, oh yeah, they are warming. They're building your energy. So I would start the day with those. So when I start my sort of planning and you say, you know, focus your time on the needle shifters straight off the bat, you know, eat that frog, whatever you're doing, that's where I'd be focusing around those reds, oranges and yellows. Even from stuff like getting a towel in an orange, so that when you dry your face in the morning, boom, you're straight in with a low frequency color. Just wakes you up, gives you the vitality. So when I'm planning a day, I plan it in color from low frequency energizing and then working up to more calming colors. So green right in the middle is the most nurturing, is the most balanced shade in the visible spectrum. It's the color of nature. You know, it's a great leveler. It's a great balancer right in the middle.
Green, you do think grounding. You think like forests and nature.
Well, it's balance. So essentially it's balance. So if we are grounding and rooting, we're going more down, lower frequency to reds. We're going to be there. We're going to be building from the ground up. We're going to be grounding. But then when we get to green, we are like balance. It is balance. It is that kind of yin and yang, that everything's in balance. And then when we move up from green, our blues, indigos, violets, and then essentially white, which contains all the colors in the visible spectrum. These are very high frequency. So these are going higher, more calming colors. So we can use these colors for specific tasks when we know we need to be calm, or there's different areas. So for reds, I would be looking at stuff that you need to boost your confidence with and you need energy for. With oranges, it's great for when you're doing creative planning. It really is. That's a great frequency to get in. I use it a lot with creatives who've maybe got creative blocks. We'll put it into their offices and things like that. Moving up with your yellow, with your connection to joy and that kind of almost moving through like a chakra system in terms of energy. So yeah, starting off with your energizing colors and then trailing up to your higher frequency, because then as well, even with circadian rhythms and stuff, you want to be tailing that energy. So actually you're vibing higher, you're calmer, ready to then go to bed, be rested and start again the next day.
Oh my God, I love it. So I talk a lot about plan to your energy, not to your time. And that's the one big mistake that I made and contributed to my burnout, because it was very regimented, very like almost like military precision. You know, you will get up at 6 and you will do this for 30 minutes and doof, doof, doof. And, you know, my life ran like clockwork in that sense. So it probably looked like I've got my shit together and I'm productive, but it wasn't thinking about my energy. So lo and behold, you know, you can only do that for so long before you burn out. So I'm very big on like planning to your energy, but I've never heard of planning to color, but I fucking love it. And I can see how that like builds you up. You have that grounding throughout the day. And then, yeah, you don't want to be wired when you go to bed. You don't want to, you know, no oranges before bed. It's actually, let's bring ourselves back down before we go to sleep.
And it helps you as well to shift your energy if you need to. So we can plan to your energy, but one morning, if you wake up and you're absolutely knackered, some days there's going to be stuff you've got to do. Sometimes we've just got shit to do, and that's frustrating. But some days we are going to have to do that. So how can we energetically support ourselves to give ourselves a boost? It's a little bit like supplementing yourself with vitamins, and I do it through color. So, you know, if we want to energize, we'll go the lower frequencies, and let's work on boosting you and getting that energy flowing and making sure that the blockages aren't there through using the frequencies of light. And daylight, natural daylight, I'm looking at it now, contains every single color in the visible spectrum. We just don't see it until it's refracted through and we see a rainbow in the sky. So that's why the biggest color boost and the biggest energy boost you can do is step outside, drink in that daylight, because it's a full spectrum energy boost. So that is literally just going to, I see it like I'm topping up a battery, a human battery. It's like going all the way up. It will boost you. And doing that in the middle of the day is such a flex.
Work, because I say this, Kate, looking outside my window at the moment, and I'm obviously, I haven't moved to Bali. I mean,
I'm gutted about that, by the way. When you told me, I was like, I'm coming with you.
And it's grey, so I'm like, is there any light out there?
Yeah, there is. And even when it's not sunny, that full spectrum daylight is still there. It's just more intense when we have got a nice blue sky and a big sunshine. You know, we feel that a lot more because the rays can come down more and that natural daylight is pouring in. But even on a grey day like this, yes, absolutely, get outside. It's not where you want to be. It's freezing. It certainly is here, but just get out there. Just give it half an hour, give it 20 minutes, get out there and walk, bit of movement, bit of full spectrum colour. But then you get to decide as well how you colour in your life from, yes, your clothing, but also your environment. You know, the colours that you put, I've got a bit of green here, a bit of pink going on, the colours that you put on your walls, your soft furnishings, you know, even blankets, candles, all these different things, even down to meditation. So I never could meditate. Don't know about you. I literally was just like, 15,000 lists. I'm a big list maker, even just
the
like
brain does not shut up. I'm like,
and as soon as I got quiet, be like, it's all going off. And then I learned to meditate using colour, and it took me out of my head and back into my body. And so sometimes, even if you can't be surrounded, if you're in an office or whatever, and it is what it is, and you're wearing a black suit or whatever, you could just plug into one of my 5-minute meditations for the colour that you need for that day, whether it's you need calming energy. So you might go for a violet, or you might need something that's going to ground you and make you feel more confident just before a big meeting. You might go for red. So it is a little bit like just plugging yourself in and recharging yourself in whichever way you need for your energy for that day.
Absolutely love that as well. And also I think we have to think practical, don't we? Because, you know, if you are stuck in an office or you're stuck in a uniform or something like that, and you can't necessarily change it. Like for me, I'm house sitting at the moment. So would I have chosen these colours? Like, probably not, but you know, it is what it is. So it's like, okay, well, what can I do instead? Well, I've got control over my clothes. Okay, maybe not the walls, but I have my clothes. And, you know, we are just laughing here about the weather and stuff, but I have noticed I did go down the black route over Christmas, and it was like constant black trackies. And then I was like, not sure this is helping. And I felt very sluggish. So in January, I decided, not new year, new me, but I was like, you know, incremental upgrades of Alice. And I was like, why am I saving my nice clothes for nice, do you know what I mean? Like we save our clothes, I'll save that for when I go out. And I was like, yeah, but I spend 90% of my time at home working for myself at home. So that wardrobe is never going to get worn anyway. So I might as well just bloody wear it. So I've started to wear more colour in January, especially with this shitty grey weather. And I do feel it's made a difference. So subconsciously, I think I knew it, but I didn't until we're having this conversation go, that's what.
It's subconscious. And like, this is a bit like tuning into a frequency. Like you didn't know you loved this radio station until you find it and you're like, oh my God, I can hear all the songs. And it's the same sort of energy that actually we're affected by this, whether we know it or not. It's just no one's really spoken about it before. No one's really told us. And I remember when I retrained as a chromotherapist, did this really long course, and it was very woo, which is ace for me because I love it. I mean, really, my life goal is to live next to the sea in a big flowy caftan, not wear a bra forever, and just be very woo-woo, talk to my crystals. But I know it's not for everyone. And I've got 3 kids.
It's not otherwise. Well, I'm like, oh, that sounds lovely.
We live together in Bali, wear a caftan. I've got 3 kids at the end of the day. You know, this is practical. I work for myself. I've got a couple of different businesses. I've got a husband who's not into any of that. How can I help them who are completely unaware of this, who are never going to go to a bloody retreat? Or, you know, they're not going to be charging the crystals on the full moon. They're not into it. But I knew that colour was so accessible that it could even help them without them even knowing. And so I started doing just weird little, like you said, those incremental upgrades, painted the walls green in my house because I've got 2 teenage boys and now a teenage daughter and a husband who have very red energy. They're very confident and they've got great boundaries. But when you live with someone like me, who's a green energy through and through, very empathetic, very caring, put everyone before myself, that basically means that I would very easily get burnt out living in this house with all these people who are quite happy to have their own boundaries and to test my boundaries. So I painted it. I can't tell you the magic because literally you walk into this house now and people go, oh my God, this is so calm. You can't help but be calm in this house. And I'm like, yep, I know.
Interesting, because I'm definitely, I don't know, maybe you can tell me what colour I am. Like, I'm bit loud, bit gobby, bit, you know, drop an F-bomb. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
You know what,
gonna
Alice?
guess
I
I'm on,
think you're pink. So everyone has a soul shade. So as part of then when I did this chromotherapy course and I kind of merged it back in with the color psychology stuff I'd done before and then with the styling, so then the real life experience of working with color for the past 25 years, I came up with this system called Soul Shades, which is really an alternative to a lot of those corporate leadership systems like Insights or Clarity 4D, where they give you a personality. Usually it's only 4. You'll be like red, yellow, blue, or green, I think.
I'm a very strong word.
And it's really helpful within a corporate environment. But what I wanted to do was base that on energy rather than personality. What I want, because this is what I always felt, was that when I walked into a room, you feel it, and you feel that too. Like you'll get someone's vibe and you're like, oh my God, this person is my vibe. I am vibing with this person. This is amazing. And it feels great. And I'm like, right, well, I need to work out now how this works with the different frequencies and how we can give your energy a color. And that's what Soul Shades does. Soul Shades will work out your color energy. And what's so interesting, I did this on my husband as well. I was like, just do this when I was testing this. It took me about 3 years to get it right. I was like, just test this. And he goes, right, well, I've got a color. And I went, yes. He goes, what do you think it is? And I said, I think it's red. And he went, how did you know that? It's like you've just told my fortune. But it's the opposite of my energy. Right. So I'm green, he's red. And then we start looking at magnetic pairs. So actually, everything's about balance, and we all need a little bit of all these colours in us. And if we're building teams, we need someone in all these different areas to be able to do different things in the teams. And I'm doing a thing with a dating app at the moment around Soul Shades, because it's so interesting that sometimes we get someone's vibe and we're so great with them as friends, but then as partners, like it just kind of fizzles out. And it's because we're so similar that that we're kind of the same energy, competing in the same way. Whereas me and my husband, like we've been together since we were 16. So it's been a long, long time. I think, yeah, bloody hell, it has been a long time. I'm just thinking how long that's been. Way too long, to be perfectly honest.
You're like, oh, I've got a list for murder.
But we're opposites. So yes, but what I've learned is that I can't treat him like I want to be treated. If I go in there with all that nurturing, empathetic energy, I'm just going to stamp all over it because it's not fast enough. It's not red enough. It's not urgent enough. So he's learned a lot about me and I've learned a lot about him. And then the same with the kids, like you learn about your own energy, what you can do to protect it, how you can borrow from other people's energies. Like with him, I'm like, you're red. And so I need to learn from you all about these boundaries that you've got and this confidence and this total grounding in yourself, at the same way that you need to learn my nurturing and compassion and balance energy. And it just works. It just makes you very much more aware of your own gifts, because we've all got our own gifts and none of us are different. None of us are the same, sorry, but also of picking partners, picking team members, picking, like you were going with your VA, you were saying you needed a new VA, the people that you surround yourself with. And I think in the past, I've surrounded myself with people who are like me, and that's not always worked out for the best, because I'm already like me. I need someone who's going to bring me the blue energy, which is more process and more strategy. I need someone who's going to bring the red energy, who's going to be good with the boundaries. I was talking to you about getting an agent. Very red energy. She's the one that's doing the negotiation. You want me to do this? No problem. Speak to my agent, because she's got the boundaries. I'm the green that'll be like, I'll just turn up. It's fine. So you start to learn about different energies and where you can use them. And within your realm of that productivity, it's life changing.
Love it. I love it. Because for me, this feels very like, oh my God, this is making so much sense, because I do think in terms of energy rather than time.
Yeah.
Or, kind of that ilk. But so this is making sense. And so saying that colour is an energy, I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense as why I felt fucking drained over Christmas when the weather was shit and I'm just wearing my black tracksuit. And then as soon as January came, I was like, right, I'm ready now for 2026. And it's like, I've got the colour back on. And like, oh, isn't that weird that I feel motivated? No, not really. Like it's
true.
Yeah,
I think the hack is, and the difficulty is then learning to use it when you really don't feel like using it. Like when you want to go to the default, then it's having, and a bit like anything, it's a bit like the day you don't want to go to the gym is the day you really need to go to the gym. Like we all save these bright colours for when we go on holiday. People go, well, when you want to see my holiday wardrobe? I'm like, all right, but what about your grey Tuesday afternoon in February wardrobe? How's that stacking up? And actually, the two are so different that what I'm trying to do is help people build a little bit of consistency with their energy, rather than going, well, when the clock goes back, it'll be better. Or when, we start getting more daylight, or when I'm in a hot climate, we can hack our energy now, just literally by the colours that are surrounding us.
Energy hack. I love it. Just out of curiosity, what do you think my soul shade might be?
I'm looking at your pinks and I'm thinking pink. So pink is similar to red. So it is. So if we were looking at soul shades, your soul shade would be red. But whenever you add a little bit of white to any of these colours, it just softens the intensity a little bit. So I think you'd come out as a red, but definitely with the pink side of it as well. You're a force of nature. You are that strong feminine energy. And I think often within corporate careers, the women that excel do have a red energy because they're not afraid to say no, and they feel like they have to match the masculine energy, which you don't at all. And now you've realized that beautifully because you've softened it into a pink energy to claim it as your own.
It's interesting you use the word soften. I definitely feel like I've softened in the last couple of years, especially as well, obviously to give people my fucking sub story about my ex. That was fucking traumatic with a big T. And I really had to put my guard up, and I really had to get into I called it warrior mode. I really had to, and I had to get through that shitty time. But now that's done, dusted behind me, I do feel like in the last 8 months I have softened, and I'm working with someone at the moment. So shout out to you, Alicia. But she was like, you need to bring your strength, but you also need to bring softness. And we're now calling it soft strength. So I don't have to always be so aggressive with everything. I can still get what I want and manifest what I want, but not with such a
100%. And also, if you burn in that red energy, that's exhausting, right?
Yeah.
So if that's constantly, yes, I'm grounded, I'm rooted, I'm confident, that's great, but also that burns out pretty fast. So your magnetic healing pair would be green. Okay, so this is the energy you can learn from. This is the nurturing, compassion for yourself as well. Let's start with that. Let's start with you nurturing yourself before you try and nurture anyone else. We've got to balance that out a little bit. And I will send you the Soul Shades guide for red, because it'll have your kind of characteristics and the amazing stuff that you do naturally, the stuff you just need to be a bit aware of. And then it'll also have your green stuff, the stuff that you can lean into, especially when you feel like maybe you are burning out a little bit. Let's move towards that green energy. And it'll have a little 5-minute meditation in there as well that you can download. So to give your red and your green energy to balance it out. And it's literally 5 minutes a day. I don't have time for this. I haven't got 25th hour in the day. I do it in between a rugby bloody drop off and dropping someone off at horse riding. I just plug in like that and just sit there in the car park. It don't matter where you it don't matter where you do it, because you're still getting it. You're still getting it. So do that. I think that'll be really helpful for you. Yeah. I think it'll be magic.
Funny enough you said green, because I did have a beautiful, I can't remember what crystal it was now, the green one. And I had it at my last event. The lady who came to my event, she was selling these and she gave me one. We had them in the goodie bags. And it snapped the other day, and I keep being like, I need to get a new one. But I felt very drawn to it. It might have been jade, but I felt very drawn to the green. Interesting.
Yeah, so it's magnetic to you. It will be. So when we look at a colour wheel, if you look at in design, you'll have a complementary colour. So they go really nice. So look, I've got pink and green on today. Look, we're vibing straight off the bat.
We didn't even plan this, people.
We didn't. It's just vibe. It's just a vibe. Obviously, it's the energy. But because they're opposite, they're magnetic. So actually, they're drawn together. So it'd be really interesting that if you do get together with anyone else, go for a green soul shade. But yeah, you because that will also mean that you have to be in touch with your green as well to be able to attract someone like that. Otherwise, they might be a bit like, whoa, she's going to step all over me. But you're not going to, because I think you've softened into that now.
I've softened. Okay, right. So Alice, get on Tinder and look for green soul shade. Do you imagine that as a profile? People are like, what the actual fuck?
Yeah, I love it. This is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be profiling them on Tinder. I love it.
I'll report back. Lovely. Thank you so much. This is doing so fucking fascinating, and I loved it, and I could talk to you for fucking hours. But really quickly, just to wrap up, tell me what you've got going on. You've mentioned the book. What can people come check out? And obviously I'll link your Instagram below and stuff.
Yeah, there's all sorts going on. I'm speaking at loads of events this year. I'm back at Happy Place. I'm back at Carfest. I'm over at Manifest in Newcastle. I've got all my services on the website. If they're going to do anything, I would say do the online Soul Shades service. That is where you start. That is your starting point in colour. You will get that guide that I just said to you. You'll get to work out what your soul shade is, your magnetic pair, and you'll get your 5-minute meditation as well. And that is the best place to start. Follow me on socials. I've got a little community over on Facebook as well, where we chat about all of this. And there's loads coming up. Yeah, which makes me think I probably need your time management skills.
Thank you so much, lovely. I've just absolutely loved every single minute of this and learned so much as well. So thank you so much for always sharing your knowledge and your values. So yeah, just really appreciate you. And thank you for being on Fuck Your Flow and Take Action.
Thank you. I loved that.